Today I have been developing a massive rage with the Panasonic GH4. Generally I don't think it's great, but today I was getting infuriated with it because I couldn't understand why it wasn't doing what I thought it was meant to be doing. And I've figured it out. I've figured it out, but I don't know why it is the way it is, but it's really annoying. First of all, I'll show you the bits which of me trying to figure out what's going on. Quick question for any Panasonic users. I am currently shooting on video mode and I've set all the settings to what I think would be a nice video. However, if I change it from video to manual mode, it gives me completely different exposures. So if I do this recording here, I do a nice little pan from window to window, I would say that is okay. And without changing any of the settings, if I go to manual, make sure all the settings inside are the same, and if I do the same thing again, can you see that I'm getting a different kind of dynamic range and exposure going on in the image, yet there's nothing I can see in the menu settings that should be explaining why, because I've got it on iDynamic High in manual and it's the same in video mode as well. So let me just change it to video mode. What is going on? It seems to give me different exposures even though they're on the same settings. And just to further confuse matters, here I have it on manual and I've got the screen as exposure preview. If I take a photo just now, it looks pretty much as it is. But if I then go and press record, suddenly we're getting so much more detail in the sky. And it was a JPEG, it's not a RAW or anything like that. It's just giving me a completely different image. I'll take a photo again. The video and the photo, I'm not changing the settings in any way, are just completely different. Meanwhile, if I go into video, so up in the video mode there, if I click recording, it stays exactly how it was. Don't understand what's going on here. Right, ISO 200, shoot in video mode, 125th of a second f2.8, no that's f2.8, we'll give it there. That's what I'd say is a kind of a slightly below average exposure. And if I were to suddenly swing that indoors, that's the exposure I'm getting for in here. Now if I switch it to manual mode, here's the exposure I'm getting for outside, haven't changed any of the settings. And then if I spin it around to inside, it's a lot brighter. It's like it's doing auto exposure compensation, yet I have no auto ISO, and it's changing the exposure. I don't have it on auto ISO, I don't have it on auto anything. This is in M, manual mode. Nothing should be changing here. Okay, I've turned it to iDynamic off. And no, it's still exposing, still changing exposure without my control. Right, I think I want to advance on this problem here. So I've got it again in M mode, manual mode. And if I were to increase the ISO, let's say take up to 800, take a photo, it's obviously too bright. But even though I'm in manual mode, if I start recording, suddenly it's a completely different exposure. That's not what I've dialed into the camera. If I just stop, that's the exposure I'm meant to be having. So it seems like manual mode, even though in the settings everything is the same, it's not actually recording the settings which I'm putting it at. Very strange. So after hunting through forums and galleries and all that kind of stuff, I found out that even if you have it in manual mode, but not in video mode, if you take a photo, the photo will be at all the settings that you have set in manual mode, especially if you haven't done auto ISO. Absolutely fine. But if you then suddenly click the record button, it just switches to auto ISO, even if you haven't chosen that. I don't know why they decided to do that. I can't see the reason for doing that, and it's really annoying. I'll show you it in camera just now. So I'm in manual mode. So you've got your PASM. M for manual means you can set shutter, shutter speed, aperture, and white balance, and all that kind of stuff. So if we go to the camera here, I've got it at a 50th of a second there at f4. Oh god, you can't really see that. And ISO 200. In manual mode, you've got an option of auto ISO. I'm not going to go for that though. I'm going to go for, let's say, I'm going to go for ISO 400. And on the exposure here, I'm saying that looks kind of about right. If I take a photo, yeah, that looks pretty much right. Okay, happy with that. But for some reason, if I now just go and press this button here, so are we getting ready for it? So I haven't changed anything. Let's see, ISO 640. If I now start recording, if I then go to this dark area down here, all of a sudden, I can see into the footwell. Well, that's not the same exposure setting. If I now go up there, oh, it's automatically changed. If I go to this darker area over here, it's auto compensating. I'm like, wait a minute, but I've set everything here. Why is it all of a sudden changing? It should not be doing that. It should be, well, okay, the iPod changes exposure as well, but that's not a camera. So this has absolutely baffled me, and I cannot understand the reason why it's there. Okay, fine, now that I know it is there, I can deal with that. All I need to do is just change this button to manual video mode, and then it doesn't compensate. So if I then move to a darker area there, it doesn't get brighter. If I, I'm not changing the ISO, and if I go up to this area here, well, that's just the right exposure. But if I go down here again, good, it's not changing exposure. Bizarre how, oh, I'll just press display. Bizarre how it's something which I've never experienced before in any other camera. Why, for some reason, just changing it from photos to video, it suddenly decides to go into an auto ISO setting and do exposure compensation when in M mode, master mode, and it's only if you're in the video M mode that you have control over the ISO. I don't know why. Don't know what benefits that has. Don't know who asked for that. But now that I know that that's the issue, I'm over it. Okay, I understand. Just keep it in video M mode. But sometimes you're taking photos, and then I want to take a video at the same time instead of having to click it round and then think, wait, what settings have I got the video in video mode? I want it just to be exactly in what I've been taking the photos in, and it just doesn't work. It gives you a different exposure. So that's been my thing that's annoyed me today, but now that I know it, now that maybe you know it, we can all relax. And I am going to just never use manual mode in video, ever. Oh, so pointless. And I've been through every setting is not a setting in there at all. Annoying.